Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am going to be talking about all of the books that I read in the second quarter of 2025. So April through June. If you have not watched my first video talking about the books that I read from January to March, I definitely recommend doing that first. It was a lengthy video, I'm sure. I was talking so much and I just had a little drink and snack break. Let's talk about all the books that I read in April, May, and June. During these months, I really slowed down my reading because I began packing and decluttering and getting ready to move, and it took up a whole lot of my time. It was such a busy time of the year, so much stuff going on, and I just wasn't able to sit and read like I had in times past. And so you will notice I read a lot less books. The first book from the second quarter and the first book of April was The Secret Garden, and this is like a classic children's book that I have never read before. And so I saw this at, I think, Barnes & Noble or Books A Million. I don't remember which bookstore is close to my parents. But I saw this edition and I knew I wanted to read this book, and especially to my kids, just because I want to read classic children's books to my kids. And so I saw this illustrated edition that was like just so pretty. And so I was like, I'm going to buy it and read this version. Why not? And that way I have a pretty version whenever I read to my kids one day. Anyway, I love this story so much. There's like a lot of found family in it and a lot of just character development in general in this book, and I really enjoyed it, and it taught me a lot of lessons. I think reading it as an adult was so insightful because I was able to see the message behind the book more than I think a child would. I don't know if a child would really get the message behind the book, but I really enjoyed this book. Next is Powerful. This is the novella between Powerless and Reckless. This goes back in time in the same timeline as Powerful, but it gives you a perspective on Peyton's best friend Adina and her little love interest that she has in this book. This book broke me. I saw in somebody else's review that they said powerful, more like painful, and I agree. This book broke me. And I literally knew it was going to happen, but reading about it happening was just something else. It was so devastating. But I love this book so much, and this edition is so pretty. I love it. I just love the sprayed edges, and then there's even a little book ribbon in it, and I've never seen that before where a book has a book ribbon, and I lose bookmarks so much, so having this book ribbon was so cool, and I just think this book is so pretty. So good. Next is Reckless, which I actually borrowed my sister's version of Reckless. I really wanted to steal it because it is like the pink flowers. There's like dark pink flowers instead of red petals, I think is in the real book. I really wanted to steal her edition. I didn't, and I still haven't even bought my own edition of Reckless because every time I go to Walmart, they never have it there. And so maybe I just need to go to a different bookstore or buy it online. Now that I've read it, it's like I'm even less determined to want to buy it just because I've already read it and I don't really care to own it. This book, I did not like it as much as Powerful. Like, I really didn't like it. I don't know. Next, I read The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. This book was really insightful. It really made me stop and think because the premise of the book is that it's like these demons, this like head demon writing to this apprentice demon, I guess. I don't know. A lot of the things that the demons were saying to try to like tempt these humans like really made me stop and think about how I think and what I do and stuff. Just the perspective really helps you to think more, and I can't really explain it very well at all, but I really enjoyed this book a lot. And the last book of April, I only read 4 books in April. It was my slowest reading month for sure. There was just a lot going on. But that is Kingdom of Cinders, and this is like a indie author, I'm pretty sure. This is a retelling of Cinderella, and I really enjoyed this book a lot. It was very different than anything I've ever read before, like a retelling that I've read before, and there's like magic in it and just a lot of things. There is some plot twist in this book that I was not expecting, and I really enjoyed it a lot. I gave it, I think, 4 stars or 4.5 stars. Like, it was a little bit slower to start out with, but this plot twist really helped it to improve, and I really enjoyed that a lot. My favorite book from April was The Secret Garden. I really enjoyed this, but Powerful was really good too. Like, it's hard to pick between the two. They were both really good, but The Secret Garden did win. Now we are into May, and the first book that I read was Loyally Luke by Pepper Basham, which is the 3rd book of the Skymore series. Authentically Izzy, I read last year and loved it. It was one of my favorite books of the year. And then I read Positively Penelope in February. It was my favorite book of February. And then now we have Loyally Luke. And Luke has always been my favorite character since the beginning, so I couldn't wait to read his story, and it did not disappoint at all. I loved the love story, and just his love interest is a princess, so it's really interesting in that aspect. It's a little bit different than the other ones, in my opinion, and it's also a lot more of just like the story, whereas the other ones are a lot more text and emails. This one has a lot more storytelling to it instead of the emails and texts. And I think that's another reason why this one's one of my favorite ones, because I like the story aspects more than the text in the emails, but it still is really cool. Next is the next book club pick of the month from my mom. This was technically March's, but I finished it in this was technically April's, but I finished it in May. And my mom picked this book. She is very big on mystery, suspense, and I think she said that this is her favorite author for that genre, and so this was her pick, and I would not have read this book otherwise besides my mom picking it. So it was really interesting to go into this book and to see what it was about. This book was really creepy. Like, there's even, I don't know if there's multiple chapters, but there's at least one chapter that is from the serial killer's perspective. Like, the serial killer is literally like writing, like I'm reading his thoughts in his words, and it was so creepy. I did not enjoy reading that at all. It really creeped me out, and I am not a huge suspense person. Mystery is okay. It's still not one of my favorites, but suspense really creeps me out, and like I couldn't read it at night. It was so creepy. This is like the creepiest suspense book that I've ever read, and I don't know, like maybe I'm just a big baby and it's really not even that bad. If you like suspense, I really think you would love this book. So like, I do recommend this book to people, but it definitely was not a book for me. Next is Every Hour Until Then by Gabrielle Meyer. This is book 5 in the Timeless series, and my favorite of the Timeless series so far. I didn't think anything could ever beat When the Day Comes, but this book has done it. This book is different than the other Timeless series books as well, because there's a bit of a mystery aspect to it. And this is the first book that I began tabbing, as you can see, and it looks so bad. I have hopefully grown a little bit in my tabbing skills since this book. I began tabbing because I would like write little notes on who I thought. This is like in one of the timelines, well actually in both the timelines, she's trying to figure out who Jack the Ripper is, because her sister was one of the victims that was killed by Jack the Ripper. And so it's like that kind of mystery. She's trying to figure out who Jack the Ripper is, and it was so interesting. So I would write little clues and notes in the margin, or I don't really like to write in my actual book, so I would write in the tabs instead. And I really enjoyed tabbing and started doing it with other books as well. But anyway, this book was so good. Who it was not even on my radar. Once again, Gabrielle Meyer, I don't know how she comes up with these twists, because like I even tried to think out of the box and think something crazy, and I couldn't. I would never have thought that it was who it was. So good. Also, I read this book in one sitting, under 24 hours. I think it was actually in 7 hours. I got the book and just had to start reading it. I was in the middle of other books, but I had to read this book because it was my most anticipated read of 2025. So I began reading it, and I literally could not put it down until I figured out who was Jack the Ripper. I had to know who was Jack the Ripper. I had to know what was going to happen with Catherine and her love interest. I just had to know all the details. So I literally just sat there and read this all in one sitting, and it was so good. I'm glad I did that, but now I need to reread this book again and see if I can see the clues on the villain, the killer, because what? Crazy. Anyway, so good. I love the Timeless series, if you can't tell. So if you haven't read the Timeless series yet, please do this. Like, please do. It is so good. Next is Through Quick and Quinn, and I actually met this author on Instagram, and she is like one of the sweetest people ever. And I am so glad I met her. We have become really close friends, I believe. We like talk every single day. It's so nice. She's just so nice. And I feel like she's that way with me, but she's that way with everyone. She's just a super sweet person in general. She actually sent me this copy of her book, and she's done it with other people too. So she's really generous in that way as well. because I know that's not really helping her and her business by giving away books for free. But so she gave this book to me for free, but also she supports other indie authors and buys their books and shares their books on Instagram. So she's just a wonderful person and I love her so much. And I'm so glad she sent me her book. That was so sweet of her. This book follows two teenagers in high school who have both gone through some tough things. And this book is not easy to read in that regard. There is some tough topics in there. But the main thing that I loved about this book and that I took away from it, besides Quick and Quinn and their wonderful friendship, Erica has told me that her like second mission with this book, like obviously is like her big mission is like the grief and the healing through grief, but also the second one is to get people to start thinking for themselves more. And I can't word it exactly how she's saying it. This is in my own words. Her second mission is like to get people to think for themselves. And so there is in the second half of the book, there is this website called Seek and Speak, I think is what it's called. And it encourages students to discuss controversial topics. And it was so interesting. The topics that they picked in the book was so interesting. It made me want to go grab my computer and research everything that I could about those topics. It is really good. And it made me think a lot because I kind of am someone who just believes everything that's told to me. And I don't really look things up for myself or think for myself. And so it really helped me to think about that and be like, I shouldn't just believe everything that's told to me. We need to look these things up for ourselves. And anyway, it was so good, so interesting. I don't want to talk about this book for too long, even though I definitely could, because this video would be forever long and I don't want everyone to close off because I'm just rambling at this point. But this book is so good, so I would definitely recommend you to get your copy. I love Erica. She is such a wonderful person, and so for no other reason than that, you should go buy your copy. But the book itself is just so good, and I feel like everyone needs to read it because it has some very good messages in it, and it is written with so much grace and love. Alright, next is Forget Me Not. And I saw a review for this book on Goodreads, or not on Goodreads, on my Instagram account, and the cover just looked so cute, so I just had to read it. And I want to say, oh, it was on Kindle Unlimited, and I got another free trial for Kindle Unlimited, so I read it on there, and it was so cute. I loved it so much. I read it so fast, and it was 5 stars. So good. The next book is Secrets in the Mist, but this is a dystopian book, like by a Christian author, and after reading The Hunger Games, I really wanted more dystopian books. I was really in that mood, and as you can see, it took me a little bit of a while to actually finally get to reading this. I got this book on Libby and was put on a holds list and all that stuff. I had to wait a little while before being able to read it, and I wasn't really in the dystopian mood anymore, so I think that's one of the reasons I just didn't really care for this book much. But also, it was just really kind of slow for me to get into. I don't know, I just didn't really care for it a whole lot. But the ending made me want to really read the second book. I don't even remember what the ending is anymore, and I have since then started the second book, and I still don't really remember what was so jaw-dropping about it, which is so crazy to me that I don't remember that. But it made me really excited to read the second book, and so I haven't finished the second book yet, and I can't wait to see what happens with our characters. Next is A Time to Die by Nadine Brands, and I loved Nadine Brands' book called Wistress last year. It was one of my favorite books of the year, and I talk about it all the time. I think about it all the time. It's so good. So this is one of her like dystopian series. Is called Born to Die, I think. No, I always call it Born to Die, but that's not what it's called. It's called A Time to Speak. And this follows Peyton, I think is her name, or am I mixing it with a different story? I think I'm mixing that with Powerless. I don't remember. Anyway, our main character is living in a time where everyone has to wear a clock, and the clock tells you the exact day and time that you are going to die. I don't really remember all of the details, but anyway, so she's a triplet. One of the triplets did die, and they had a clock that obviously ran out because he died. And then there's the other two, a brother and a sister, who are sharing a clock, and they don't know whose clock that it is. And so Peyton is living her last 6 months, as she assumes this is her last 6 months, if the clock is hers, and is trying to make a difference and do something with her life because she's kind of wasted her whole life leading up to this point. And it is really interesting. I can't say too much because I don't want to give spoilers, but it is really, really good. I really like the second book of the series, which I'll get to that eventually. But now reading the second book, definitely highly recommend it. The faith themes are so good in this book and in the second book, and I just really highly recommend this book. I really, really enjoyed it. And my final book for the month of May, which I actually technically finished this book in June, but the majority of the book I read in May, is The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley by Courtney Walsh. And I started reading this book and immediately I felt like I was Isadora, because like to a T, like so many of her lines were so relatable to me. Like I just felt like I could have written that myself. And then also like this is so silly, I don't know, but it was her 30th birthday, and so she was buying chips to celebrate her birthday, and she got 3 different kinds of chips. She got Doritos, salt and vinegar, kettle cooked chips, and Pringles. And those are my 3 favorite chips. And I just thought that was so crazy because I was already relating to her in other ways, but then I even related to her chip order. It was just so crazy to me. So anyway, she's such a relatable character. This book taught me so much about choosing happiness, just like my mom's book was called Choosing Happiness. This book kind of reiterates the fact that being happy is a choice. And even though this is a fictional book with a love story in it, it kind of is like almost like a self-help book that like teaches you how to have a happy life. And I loved it so much. I enjoyed it so much. 5 stars. So good. Loved it. I don't have any other words except so good. I liked it a lot. And so that was all for the month of May. And then June, which was just last month, it's July 2nd today. So all of these books should be super fresh in my mind. Let's see if they actually are, because I am pretty forgetful. Midnight on the Scottish Shore by Sarah Sundin. I couldn't wait to read this book. I bought it at the beginning of this year. I think it came out in February, and I like pre-ordered it and couldn't wait for it. But then I read those other books that I talked about earlier, and I talked about them in my last video from a different series. I can't remember it now, Wings of Glory maybe. And one of the books I actually didn't like, and so I was so scared to read another Sarah Sundin book because I didn't want to dislike any of her books, because I just love her so much and she's one of my favorite authors. So I finally read this book in May. It was actually my turn to pick the book club book, and it took forever for me, my mom, and my sister to finish Life Flight, which was supposed to be April's book club book. I didn't finish it until May, and my mom and sister didn't finish it until June. So for 3 months we read the same book. For the month of June, I picked this book hoping that we could read it in June, but I don't even think my mom and sister have started it. I read it though accidentally because I forgot that this is the book that I picked. Anyway, I am rambling. I don't know why I'm giving you all the details to why I read this book. Anyway, I picked this as my book club book to finally get into it, so to make sure that I would read it. And I'm so glad I did because I really enjoyed this. This is different than Sarah Sundin's other World War II fictions because it takes place in Scotland. And it was super interesting to me. The MMC is Scottish, so like imagining him talking with his like Scottish accent was so cool. And I just love this book a lot. It wasn't as good as Sarah Sundin's like other books. I still rated it 5 stars. There's just certain Sarah Sundin books that I don't think will ever be beaten. Like they're just so good. But I really did enjoy this book a lot. And I'm so glad because I was scared that I would not like any more Sarah Sundin books and that I would just have to stop reading them so that I wouldn't rate any of her books low. Next is Misgivings. This is an indie author. I also met her on Instagram. I'm not like super close friends with her. She didn't send me her book. I bought this book myself as well. I started reading this book and it was so easy to get into. And I think one of the reasons is actually like the bigger font in this book. I don't know if you can tell, but the font is pretty big and it's just super easy to read. I loved it. It's just so easy to read. I'm pretty sure I read this book in under 24 hours. I'm not positive about that, but I enjoyed it a lot. There are some triggers in this book I do believe that I would watch out for and like look up. And also there is a miscommunication trope in this book, which I am not a fan of miscommunication. I do not like whenever there's a problem that can be settled so easily if you just talk it out. But I was able to look past that in this book just because like there was a lot of other good things about it. Like I just enjoyed it a lot. There's just so many other good elements in this book that it was really easy to overlook the miscommunication trope of this book. I enjoyed this book a lot and rated it 5 stars. Next is The Summer of Yes. I read this with another one of my friends that I met on Instagram. We did a little buddy read together, and this was the first like summary book that I read of this year, and I was super excited to read it. I had just read the other Courtney Walsh book that I talked about a few books ago, and so I was really excited to dive into this one and see what it was all about. This one follows 2 women who meet in a hospital, and they are both like workaholics. These 2 women have not said yes to a lot of things in their life, so they decide to finally do a summer of yes where they have to start saying yes to things. I really enjoyed this book. I really like the character Georgina, who is like the older woman in this book. She's so funny, made me laugh so many times. And then also Kelsey is just so fun as well, and her relationship with Hayden was one of my favorite parts of the book. I just love Hayden in general. He's so sweet, and I just really enjoyed all the interactions in this book. There's like a dual love, like there's 2 love stories in this book that is so beautiful, and this book made me really excited to say yes to my own things and to say no to the correct things. To just say yes to more things in life and not to be shy all the time, which I'm a very shy person, but sometimes that holds me back from doing fun things that I even enjoy doing. I just don't because I'm afraid. And so this book has encouraged me to say yes to some things even if I'm afraid, and I'm excited for my summer of yes. Next, I listened to the audiobook of To the Moon and Back by Karen Kingsbury. This is the 3rd one, I think I'm on the 3rd one, right? I don't remember. Of the Baxter Family series with the other characters. And this one I really didn't like. Like the other ones were like, I was liking them a little bit less, but this one was really bad. This one, Ashley is like our main character again, and she was very annoying in this book with the way that she was being with her husband and with the situation with the other couple. She's just very nosy and has to be in charge of everything and in control of everything, and I just don't like that about her. And so I really wish we could focus in on a different Baxter character, because it's a huge family with so many different characters, and I feel like we could get so much more out of the other characters and getting to know them more. Besides Ashley. I'm tired of Ashley. So that's one of the main reasons why I didn't really care for this book. Even the love interest couple, though, I didn't really care for much, and so I just really didn't care for this book much. I gave it 3 stars because it wasn't horrible, but yeah, it just was okay. Next is A Time to Speak by Nadine Brands again. This is the 2nd one of the Out of Time series, and this book was so good. I enjoyed this book so much. The faith themes are so good. I tabbed in this book as well, and I just felt like I was tabbing every single page, especially near the end, because there was just so many good quotes in here, and it's just really good. Her name is Parvin, by the way. I don't remember what I called her earlier, but I think I might have called her Payton, which is from the Powerless series. Parvin is her name. And the romance in this book I was not expecting to enjoy, but I did. And just the faith themes are so good. That's my favorite part about this series, and I can't wait to read the next one. I also did this one as a buddy read. I read this with a group of friends as a little book club, and it was a lot of fun. I can't wait to discuss this book with them and to start the next book. Next is A Lady's Guide to Marvel and Misadventure by Angela Bell, and this is another one of those Regency, I don't remember how to say that name. This book is in that time period that I do not like, and so I feel like that is one of the reasons why I didn't care for this book as much and why it took me a little bit longer to get into it, because the characters are so quirky and funny, and I just love them so much. It's so hard to pick who's my favorite because I love them all. The actual storyline is so interesting, like doing a scavenger hunt through London is so fun. The love story is so cute. There's a lot of like banter back and forth between our 2 main characters. It's just so cute. But I did only give it 3.5 stars. I really would only give it 3 stars, but the 0.5 is because I know it's a good book. Like, the writing is so good, the story is so good. It's great. It's a great book, but it just wasn't for me. I've seen so many other reviews of people who have loved this book, and I think a lot of people would really like this book if they gave it a try. It's just not my type of book, so that's why it's a little bit lower rating, but I still don't want to say anything negative about it because I really think it's a good book for other people. And the final book that I read this year and last month is The List by C.D. Baker. I got my husband to read the Timeless series, which is my favorite series, and so I told him to pick a book that he likes and I will read it, and he thought I would enjoy this book. I was really nervous going into it because I did not think I would like it. It didn't sound that interesting to me, but the more I read it, the more interesting it got, and I really enjoyed the twins in this book, and they're part of the story, and the actual history elements of it I really enjoyed. The ending blew my mind. I loved it so much. So this is 4 stars for me. I really liked it. Don't want to give any spoilers, but it's pretty good. And so that is all of the books that I've read so far this year. That is 56 books that I have read so far this year, which is a lot of books in my opinion. But it has been so much fun, like I said in my last video. My favorite book of June was A Time to Speak. My favorite book of April was Every Hour Until Then by Gabrielle Meyer. Nope, that was May. My favorite book of May was Every Hour Until Then by Gabrielle Meyer. And my favorite book of April was The Secret Garden. And out of all of those, my favorite was this one, Every Hour Until Then by Gabrielle Meyer. This became my favorite book of the whole entire year. I love this book so much. I can't wait to read it again. And I don't know how Gabrielle Meyer gets her books to get better whenever the first one is so good, but she somehow does. They're just so good. So if you haven't read that Timeless series yet, please go do it. Thank you so much for watching this video. It was so much fun to talk about all of the books that I've read. It was very lengthy and my throat is very sore from talking so much, but it was a lot of fun and I'm so excited. Tomorrow I'm going to try. I'm not sure if this is actually going to work out or not, but tomorrow I'm going to try to do a 24-hour challenge of reading, and so we'll see if that works out or not. I really hope so, because I'm not going to have a lot of time to read in the month of July. It is a crazy month filled with a lot of stuff is going on in July, so I won't have a lot of time to read, and there's a lot of books, summer books that I want to read, so I want to do a summer book readathon video, and hopefully that works out. So I'm really excited for that. Look forward to that, and then we'll see what comes next. I'm so excited to get this YouTube channel up and running again. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.